that you're doing so well today. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. For today's video, I have a May and June reading wrap up. I know a couple months ago I did like my TBR prompt jar picks books for me to read for the spring and into early summer, and I said in that video that I'd probably do a reading wrap up, and here that video is. I am so sorry in advance. I feel like I'm in such a yappy mood today, so if I get off track, that is probably why. It's the coffee, I don't know. I picked out a couple of books in my last video, well, not my last video, but in the video with the TBR prompt jar, and I picked out like I think close to 10 books just so I had a bunch to pick from. I didn't read all of them from that list, which is how it goes. I mean, I'm not going to force myself to read a book that I don't want to read because that's not fun. And reading's supposed to be fun. So I took things at my own pace and just had fun with it and tried to get through some of the books that I had on that list. So let's just get into it. Number 1 is Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret by Judy Blume. I give this 4.5 out of 5 stars, or like 4.8 out of 5. It's a sweet coming of age book and it's a quick read, a slump buster. It's really short, so it's meant for, you know, little kids or, well, like elementary age. So it's perfect for like just if you want to read a book in a day, like that's the book for you. I have not read a lot of Judy Blume's books before, so this was like my introduction to her, and that's really surprising because she's written so many amazing books for kids, and especially like when I was a kid. But this was based in like I think the 70s, and there was a movie that was just released, and I really want to watch it now that I've read the book, and it's just really cute. One of my friends told me about it, and that's why I read it. Next is Fire with Fire, which is number 2 in a series that I've been reading by Jenny Han and Sayabin Vivian, and it's a co-written series, and I give this 4 out of 5 stars just because it is a quick read and it definitely had me questioning like what the heck is happening in this book. There was a really interesting twist at the end that I was not expecting, and both the first book and the second book have left on cliffhangers, so that's kind of annoying. It makes me want to read the last book, so obviously whatever tactic they were using worked. It is a pretty quick read, but it took me from like January until like May to finish it just because I didn't want to pick it up, to be honest. So I finally finished it. Then I listened to Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. I don't know if it's because it's an audiobook, but it had me cringing big time. It's definitely a very spicy novel. Gives you all the details, so if you like to listen to audiobooks, just be prepared if you want to listen to this one. There is definitely a lot of spice, so consider that your warning. But I listened to the first book, so I felt like I had to listen to this one just because I love like reading companion novels, and it's fun to like see how like the little universe intertwines. This one I liked a little bit more than I did the other book, but I rated them the same. The second book, the character was just a little bit more relatable. I felt like she was just someone that I could see myself being friends with, so it was just more fun to listen to, but again, it still was like a little cringy. I do have a few of Tessa Bailey's books on my physical TBR, so like I'll read them and I want to see the difference between reading them and like listening to them and see if like it makes it any less cringy. The next book I listened to was The Day I Shot Cupid, which is a audiobook and also a physical book by Jennifer Love Hewitt. I just kind of fell down like a little rabbit hole. I know she has a book coming out in a few months, and I just thought about like, has she written anything else? And I looked on Goodreads and I saw this one. It has pretty low ratings, but I just thought I would give it a listen because it's literally like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours or something on Spotify, and I loved like the podcasty vibe from the audio version. She was the one narrating it, and there was like a sweet little like snippet from Jamie Kennedy, and she was dating him at the time, so it was just fun to like listen to her dating advice. Of course, I took what I liked and I left what I didn't, but it's a super quick listen and it felt like I was talking or like listening to a friend. I like Jennifer Love Hewitt, so if you like her too, I'd recommend it. Next is LA Candy, which is the first book in the LA Candy series by Lauren Conrad. I'm on a kick of celebrity books lately, but I gave that 3 out of 5 stars. I read the series out of order. I started with the second one because I didn't know it was a series. It was a really good read. You can definitely tell it was written for a younger audience though, definitely like middle grade. And then I decided to listen to the last book instead of reading it because I just was kind of feeling a slump coming on, and I thought an audiobook would be a great way to still obviously get through my physical TBR because I could just like donate or sell the books that I am listening to instead of reading them physically, and it just gets through them faster. And it's called Sugar and Spice, which is the last book in the LA Candy series. Like I said, I give this 4 out of 5 stars because I actually liked it much better than I think any of the other ones. I might have given the second one 4 out of 5 stars, but I read it like 2 years ago, so I can't remember. It gave me like, I don't know, it's definitely, so it's a reality TV show. It makes sense because Lauren Conrad was on one, and I really liked the ending. Like, it was really different than I thought it would be, so I liked it. Then I decided to listen to Bridget Jones's Baby. I give this 3 out of 5 stars. I love this series, but every time I read Bridget Jones, because I've read the first 2 books, they are hard for me to like get into, and I don't know if it's just the formatting of the book because it's like reading her diary. Really hard for me to get into it, and I just feel like detached from it almost. Although I have it as a physical book, I thought I'd try it as an audiobook, and it's only 3 hours. So if you have Spotify or like Libby or something, I'd recommend listening to it. The audiobook was amazing. It was like listening to the movie. The person that was narrating it sounded exactly like Renee Zellweger from the movies. So it was really fun, and especially if you're a huge fan of Bridget Jones, I'd recommend it. Then I listened to Look Again by Lisa Scottoline, or Scottoline, and I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. This was a rough one for me to listen to. The concept of the story really got me, but once I started listening to it, it was hard for me to stay intrigued. It was narrated by Mary Stuart Masterson, so if you're like a fan of like 80s and 90s movies, you would recognize that name. But yeah, it was a really long book to listen to, and I had the CD version, and I tried to see if it was on Spotify, but it wasn't a part of the Spotify premium audiobook. Like, you'd have to pay for it, and I'm like, I didn't want to do that. So I just kept listening to it through the CD. I went through my CD audiobooks much faster than I do now because I had a CD player in my old car. But since getting a newer car, it doesn't have a CD player anymore, which breaks my heart. So I have to listen to it on my CD player in my house, and I'm not always home to do that. So it took me quite a long time to finish it, but it's like a mystery almost. And basically this woman, she adopted her son, and he's like 3 years old. And then on the side of a milk carton, she sees her son that it says missing. And she's like, oh my gosh, this little boy looks like my son. So she goes digging, and she's, I think, a reporter for a paper, and so she has all these like ways to like reach people. She finds out like all this stuff about her little boy, and it's crazy. It does take a lot of twists and turns, but I felt like the ending was way too long. Like, it could have been wrapped up. It just kept going, and I'm like, okay, are we done yet? Then I decided to use Libby for the first time. I've had the app on my phone forever, and I'm so excited. I finally rented a book, and it's called Escape Room by Maren Stoffels, and this I gave 3 out of 5 stars. I read one of her books this past fall called, what was it called? Remember. Fright Night. It's a really, really short like novella, and it bummed me out because I listened to this audiobook, and it was multiple, it was a huge cast. Like, they had all different people like played different parts, so there was different voices per person, which was really cool. I'd never heard that before in an audiobook yet, so that was interesting. But the plot was almost identical to Fright Night, which really bummed me out because I was like, why did you have the same book but like it's different characters and a little bit different but like almost the same? I don't know. If you're a Maren Stoffels fan, give it a read. But then most recently I read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, which I found in a little free library. This is the ARC copy. As you can see, I taped her up because she was falling apart. I don't know what the person that had this before me did with it because she's in rough shape, but I brought it with me on vacation. I just got back on Saturday from Florida, and I thought this would be the perfect vacation read. This book, my first 5-star read of the year. It's so good. I understand what the girlies are talking about when they say read Abby Jimenez, because this is so good. They are all standalone books for like the part of your world. It's a whole universe, but they're all standalone. So I really want to read the rest of her books now. So I'm actually going to try and rent them at the library instead of buying them because I stumbled across this one for free. I'm gonna keep it. It got my little library stamp in here and everything. I have like an embossing tool that my sister got me for my birthday. This is such a good book. I can't wait for my friends to read it. It is so sweet, and like, it's set in Minnesota, which is where I live currently, and I've grown up here my whole life. It's just so sweet, like all the nods to Minnesota, and I love it. It's just such a sweet book, you guys, and I can see it being a tearjerker for some, so really sweet. And then a book that was on my little list, which I did read LA Candy, which was on my TBR prompt jar list. I'm also almost done with Not the Witch You Wed by April Asher. I didn't bring this one on vacation with me because I was almost done with it, and I didn't want to like bring a book that I was almost done with because I didn't know how much I would read when I was on vacation. But I ended up finishing the Abby Jimenez book, and then I started A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So I'm really excited to finish that one as well. I'm just in the beginning parts of that one, so after I finish this one, I'll continue reading A Good Girl's Guide to Murder because that show is coming out on Netflix next month, and I really want to read it before the show comes out so I can watch it and have like all of the book knowledge from it. I didn't get around to reading on my Kindle like I thought I would, so there's definitely some books I want to still read that I have pulled from that TBR prompt jar list that I would love to still get to, but be on the lookout. I'm definitely going to do another TBR prompt jar picks my like mid to late summer reads, and I'll do another reading wrap up when that happens. But I'm so excited. I have so many books to read and I can't wait to listen to them, read them, all the things. If you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel a lot, and please subscribe. It's free and I'd really appreciate it because I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers, and this is like such a big dream of mine since I was, what, oh my gosh, 12 years old. I created my channel. That would just mean the world to me, and I appreciate you watching my videos and just supporting me. All of my socials are linked down below. I upload a lot on TikTok because it's just shorter form. It's easier for me to get videos up on there daily. So if you want more videos like this one, definitely check out my TikTok. And I also have Instagram and Twitter and Goodreads and all that stuff. So if you want to, definitely check out my links down below. And I'll see you in my next one. Until then, shine bright. Bye.